going on, everybody? It's your boy Shinigami X, aka Captain X. I'm leader of Squad X, and I'm here today to give you your weekly prescribed review of Naruto, chapter 683, entitled I Had the Same Dream as You. Now, before we even begin the review and cueing that intro, what a lengthy chapter name. Like, Kishimoto, please shorten them down just for our reviewer's sake. But nonetheless, let's get into this right after that intro. Okay. Alright guys, now that the lengthy introductions are out of the way, let's get into the review. There are several positive points about this chapter and there are several negative points about this chapter. I think I'm going to cover the negative points first because I like to end things on a positive note. And for those of you who don't like the negative things I'm about to say, well, tough. I'm the kind of reviewer that will just tell you straight how it is. Firstly, let's go into the whole subject of Obito. The fact that Obito is still alive at this point in time in the series, you can see it's just literally done just as a plot device, as a means to be able to defeat Kaguya, because Kishimoto seems to have written himself into a corner. At first, he said that he wrote himself into a corner, and he admitted this by he didn't know how to kill Madara because he was so powerful in comparison to Naruto and Sasuke. He then gave Naruto and Sasuke power-ups, but then he introduces an even more powerful villain, which we now know is Kaguya, which quite evidently doesn't make sense. So he now defies something that's supposed to be, basically set in stone throughout the entire series, that once the power of a tailed beast is ripped out from inside of you, you are dead within minutes. And basically, that's even, the time span of that is basically increased by you having the 10 tails ripped out of you. So with all that being said, the fact that Obito is still alive, just by Naruto using his son hand seal and placing it on his chest, kind of somewhat annoys me. And you can see that Kishimoto has literally done this as a plot device. And the fact that what makes it even worse is that Naruto's clone is able to do this. Also, moving on into the chapter now, we see that this is also done in another plot device, that Madara still has, the lower half of Madara is still there inside the real world, which is somewhat annoying, because I'm thinking to myself, like, hold on, wasn't the whole point of Kaguya being able to become into existence again basically by taking over Madara's entire body, not half of his body? That was never illustrated, it was never depicted or shown in the slightest way. Yes, we know that Sasuke cut Madara in half, but then when we next see Madara, he has his whole torso again. It was never shown whether it was attached or not. Like, what is this guy? Can he just detach his body and leave it all over the place like his name is Majin Buu? Do you know what I mean? Anyways guys, I've rambled on about the bad points enough here, so now let's get into the good points of this chapter. Okay, as much as I'm annoyed that Obito is back into the back into the fray, I can understand where Kishimoto is going with this, because Obito has the power, his Sharingan has the power to manipulate, to go in and out of dimensions. Well, as we've seen so far, his own dimension, but as we know, it seems that if he has enough chakra, he can go into other people's dimensions, but it requires a significant amount of chakra. And obviously, that is going to be the plot mechanic of how they're going to reunite with Sasuke, and most likely how the Edo Tensei Hokage are going to possibly be able to interact or do something about the Infinite Tsukiyomi. Now, on the subject of the Infinite Tsukiyomi, it seems that the Infinite Tsukiyomi cannot be stopped by simply detaching those that were, by severing the branches that are connecting those and eventually turning people that are under the Infinite Tsukiyomi into Waizetsu. So, with that being said, how are they ever going to stop this? I think the only way to actually stop the Infinite Tsukiyomi is to basically defeat the caster of that jutsu, which originally was Madara, but now you can say it's Kaguya, because basically the power is the same. Well, obviously the power is great inside of Kaguya because she has a greater level of chakra, but nonetheless it's the same entity, if you understand what I mean. The main villain. Basically, I don't think Infinite Tsukiyomi is going to be able to be ended until the main villain is defeated. And with that being said, it also puts more pressure on Naruto and Sasuke without realizing it, that they're not only are they against an extremely formidable opponent, they're also against time, because the longer that they take, all their friends and family and stuff, well, Naruto and Sasuke don't really have any family left, but all their friends are going to be turned into Waizetsu and become essentially just mindless things that Kaguya can control at her will, which is obviously not what they want. Anyways, so now, moving on into chapter some more. We also see that Minato still doesn't have his arms, which somewhat confuses me. You think to yourself that at this stage, with Kaguya being in another dimension and Madara being out of the picture, so to speak, that the Edo Tensei would regenerate. But we see that's not the case with Minato. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Minato said that he tried to cut down the branches of the yellow not the yellow tensei, the branches of the Shinju tree, but it just reattached itself. So how was he able to cut them? What, did he use another kunai from his mouth? What is this really? See, that's the thing. Naruto has become to the stage where it's a good manga series, but it has so many plot holes that it's becoming beyond a joke, and quite evidently it needs tying up. It's like Kishimoto needs to evaluate what he's written, and just stick with certain things, because it seems like sometimes he's going with something that's all well and good, but then next minute he's going against that and completely rebuttaling what he said. Like, for example, in previous chapters we see that when Madara first got his real body back, he was able to use Susanoo with no eyes. But then when it was clearly stated in the series that to activate the power of Susanoo, not only do you need the Mongeku Sharingan, you need to have it activated in both eyes to be able to use it. But then yet Madara was able to use it while he had no eyes, blind. Kishimoto. Really. Naruto is my favourite series, but I'm going to keep it completely real with you that is just complete bogus. And these constant, back and forths on each other. I'm not saying that this manga is not allowed to have plot holes. Every manga has plot holes. But Naruto is becoming to the extent where it's becoming beyond a joke, and it's actually starting to basically discredit itself in my eyes as a reviewer, and then probably in your eyes as viewers and fans of the series. But nonetheless, this chapter is a good chapter in the sense that we now understand a bit more about Kaguya's powers. Yes, we understood that what she was doing was basically dimensional manipulation, or traveling in between dimensions at will. Also able to, basically, the dimension that she creates, she has completely full control of it, just like a god, which she essentially is. Well, she's a goddess, but you understand what I mean. So her power is no joke. But one thing that is kind of annoying me as well, but also makes somewhat sense, is that Kaguya isn't speaking much. It seems to be Black Zetsu that's kind of like telling her what to do, which kind of confuses me, because like, wasn't Black Zetsu spawned from her? Isn't Black Zetsu her will? So shouldn't she be the one that's taking front and center stage, not Black Zetsu, this spawn that she created, basically giving her all the ideas, like, separate Naruto and Sasuke? Shouldn't that be like, of her own mind and her own like calling? Do you understand what I mean? But so what I would like to see in a few more chapters, I'd like to see Kaguya have a bit more presence. I don't mean presence in terms of physical power, I mean presence in terms of her character, because we don't really understand her motives, her goal. Because when Kaguya was first introduced, he said that basically she wanted to create basically an army of white Zetsus. And as King of Lightning said, an army for what? What is she trying to fight? What does she need an army for? She's already the most powerful being in the Naruto universe. There's nothing that can stand against her except Naruto and Sasuke, and obviously her sons at the time. So it doesn't make sense of what she's trying to fight. What are you building an army for? What do you want to turn everybody into white Zetsus for? See, these are things that are basically plot devices that may be explained later, so I'm going to reserve my judgment. But as of right now, they don't make sense, and they're not making Kaguya out to be a great villain. Because if Kaguya is truly meant to be a villain, she doesn't seem to really have any really motive other than the fact that she wants all chakra to be united as one. But then, whereas Madara now, I believe at this stage Madara was a better villain because he had an overall objective, he had a goal, there was a backstory behind why he did the things the way he did. And that's something that's quite evidently missing in Kaguya, and that's why a lot of people are upset or somewhat skeptical about, the change of like, Madara's turned into Kaguya. And what's even made that even more so weird is that Madara might be returning as an Edo Tensei again, but Kaguya's body should be basically infused with Madara's. That's what the seed of her body basically is. It basically is from Madara's body, and it's obviously been changed or whatever. However, this transformation that of hers has worked. So nonetheless, guys, I know it seems like a very negative review this week, but quite evidently there's a lot of plot holes and a lot of like things that need to be cleared up by Kishimoto. But again, like I said, I'm going to reserve my judgment, and I think you should reserve your judgment too. Because generally, as from just a basic fan standpoint, this chapter is actually a very good chapter, a solid chapter at that. But like I said, if you're analysing the series just like how I am, and following it from the get-go, you can see that there's a lot of plot devices where it's starting to become a bit of beyond the joke. So I'm not going to give the chapter a rating, because for my subscribers that don't know me, I don't give chapters chapter ratings, because how can I define giving something an 8.5 compared to an 8? Like, what is it exactly that gives that chapter an 8.5? It's the same with like game reviews and stuff. It doesn't quite make sense how I can give a chapter like, oh yeah, I'm going to give the chapter an 8.3 out of 10. Then the next week's chapter I give it an 8.6 out of 10. What is set in stone about a chapter that makes me be able to give it a 0.6 instead of a 0.3, or 0.5 instead of a 10, or things of that nature. So anyways guys, hope you guys have enjoyed this review. I know it seems negative, but it's actually not a negative review. I actually enjoyed the chapter. The chapter was in itself a good chapter, but like I said, I can't ignore problems when there are problems in the series. And yes, I'm not saying Naruto has to be perfect. No series is perfect at the end of the day, but I'm doing my job as a reviewer. Promotion time, guys. Please check out my page, my Facebook fan page, which is Squad X, which is always in the description below. Also, I'd like you to check out Squad 00 Universe. Squad 00 Universe isn't something that's just endorsed by me, as the title goes. Squad 00. It's endorsed by Charles' Anime World, but it's not even just him either. It's a whole bunch of famous YouTubers from the anime community, of the likes of myself, Northside Z, Tekken 101, the Elite Ace, Charles' Anime World himself, King Recon, Mr. Anti-Lock. There's a lot of good reviewers that are on this page, and you know, we're all on this page, we converse, we ask each other questions, we hold competitions, you know, we hold events and stuff, and so it's all pretty cool. So you know, it's a nice place to, you know, for anime fans to come together and chill. So anyways guys, I hope you guys do check out those two pages. It wouldn't even really do me a favor, it'd do yourself a favor, but I would really like to, you know, like be more engaged with my subscribers, and I believe that through Facebook and things of that nature is the way that I'll be able to do that, because talking through YouTube is very difficult sometimes. Anyways guys, I believe I've rambled on enough. That's an end of promotion time. So now guys, like I was saying, it's your boy Shimigami X, aka Captain X. I'm signing out. And as always, my people, take care and peace. And remember, keep it 99 plus 1. You do the math. I'm signing out.